The news at the moment is full of all things transgender. Now, I want to make clear, I've got nothing against genuine trans people. I think there are some people who are just born with the wrong bodies who require corrective surgery. And if that applies to you, wherever you are on your journey, I wish you the very best. However, there are some people who are blatantly taking the piss with it. Here in the UK, there was a case of a man claiming to be a trans woman because he wanted to claim his pension early. There's also a very unpleasant case of a convicted sex offender who was due to be sent to prison for another offence, and in court then said he identifies as being a trans woman, meaning that the judge had no option other than to send this guy to an all-female prison. Does anyone want to hazard a guess at what happened next? Yes, straight away, he was indecently assaulting the other inmates. But here in the UK, there's a story about a doctor who lost his job due to his views on transgender people. Now, I'm not going to name the guy because the story is relatively easy to find on the internet. It's worth mentioning he's an evangelical Christian, very devout, and also he comes across as being a less than pleasant person. But nonetheless, the reason he lost his job was his refusal to address a 6-foot-tall bearded man as madam. Now, if you're having trouble visualising that, I'm a bearded man and I'm 5'11". So if I said, from now on I'm going to be called Disgruntled Danielle and I'm a woman, would you say, that's wonderful Danielle, you delicate feminine flower? Or would you tell me to shut the fuck up? I severely hope it's the latter. Because people who are transitioning can be anywhere on this spectrum, but if you turn up with a fucking beard, you're not taking it very seriously. And this guy's a doctor, not a doctor of physics or engineering or literature, a guy with 30 years medical experience. Now, if we run with the idea that I'm going to be called Danielle from now on, if I were to go to my GP and say, you now have to treat me as a woman, and if my GP said, no problem madam, what appears to be the trouble? If I said, I'm worried, I've found a lump on one of my testicles, then it's just a fucking farce! How far is this going to go? If, as Danielle, I go and get myself a new job, in 6 months' time, can I say I need some time off for maternity leave? Because even if I had a fucking sex change, there's no way I could have kids, but I'd put money on it. There's a bit of legislation somewhere, some fucking loophole that would say if I wasn't allowed time off to pretend to have fucking kids, I'd be discriminated against. We are now living in the life of Brian, the 1979 Monty Python film with the scene in it where Eric Idle, playing Stan, says, I want you to call me Loretta. How the fuck have we got here? Because you can identify as male, female, as a fucking budgerigar, an artichoke, or a fucking upside down cake. But if you go and see a medical practitioner, if you've got a cock and bollocks, they're going to treat you as a man. They're not discriminating against you, they're doing their fucking job. This is my last video for this week. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to be in bed with a hot water bottle because I'm having a very heavy period.